Welcome to Voice of Compassion. Tonight, imagine standing in a wide courtyard, filled with sound, movement, and certainty. Everyone is sure they are right. Everyone believes they hold the truth. This is a story about perception, about how touching something real does not always mean seeing the whole. It is a story about pride, argument, and the quiet wisdom of humility. As you listen, let your body soften. Let your breath slow. You do not need to choose sides tonight. Just listen to the story of the blind men and the elephant. Story 19. The Blind Men and the Elephant. Part 1. The Touch and the Wrong Conclusions. In a warm country where the air smelled of spice and dust, there was a city with high stone gates and crowded streets. Merchants shouted prices, copper bells rang, children ran between carts. And in the middle of this busy life, a king ruled from a quiet palace. This king was known for one thing more than gold or power. He loved wisdom. Not the kind of wisdom that makes you look important, but the kind that makes your heart softer. One morning, a messenger arrived at the palace with news. "A great elephant has been brought to the city," he said, "a gift from a distant land. It is the largest creature many have ever seen." The king smiled. Elephants were not only strong, they were also calm, wise-looking, like living mountains. The king ordered the elephant to be brought to the palace courtyard. He wanted the people to see it too. And then he had another idea. In the city lived several blind men. They were known for arguing, not gentle arguing, loud, stubborn arguing. Each believed his opinion was the truth. Each believed his words were the sharpest. So the king said, "Bring the blind men to the courtyard." His servants bowed and went. The elephant in the courtyard. The courtyard was wide and bright. Tall pillars held the palace roof. Fountains sang softly. Birds sat on the edges of marble bowls. Then the elephant entered. Its footsteps were slow and heavy. Thum, thum. The ground seemed to feel it. The elephant's skin was grey and thick, like old stone. Its ears moved gently. Its eyes were calm, dark, and patient. It did not rush. It did not show fear. It stood quietly, breathing. Its breath was deep and warm, like wind through a cave. The elephant was huge. Even the strongest soldiers looked small beside it. And yet, the elephant did not act proud. It simply stood there, silent, steady, present. Soon, the blind men arrived. There were 6 of them, led by servants. They walked with sticks, tapping the stone. Tap, tap, tap. Their faces turned towards sounds. Their heads lifted like they were ready to fight the air. The king watched them from a shaded balcony. He did not want to shame them. He wanted to teach them. The 6 men. The first blind man was named Darren. He was arrogant. He spoke as if his words were law. Even when he did not know something, he pretended he did. He hated being corrected. The second was named Beam. He was loud. His voice could fill a whole street. He believed whoever shouted louder was more right. The third was named Cavi. He was clever but sharp. He loved to insult people with smart words. He smiled when others felt small. The fourth was named Nalin. He was timid. He spoke softly. He doubted himself. But when he finally chose an opinion, he held it tightly because he feared being wrong. The fifth was named Jaya. He was stubborn. He did not listen well. He only waited for his turn to speak. The sixth was named Suri. He was calm on the outside, but proud inside. He enjoyed being seen as reasonable, but he still believed his view was best. The king spoke down to them kindly. "Good men," he said, "today you will touch an elephant." The blind men straightened. "An elephant?" Beam shouted. "We know elephants." Darren smiled proudly. "Yes," he said, "we know." The king did not argue. He only said, "Touch it, each of you. Then tell me what an elephant is like." The men nodded, excited. Servants guided them forward one by one to different parts of the elephant. The elephant stood still, patient like a mountain. It did not move away. It did not get angry, as if it understood. These small men were about to fight over pieces of truth. The touching begins. Daran, the arrogant one, was led to the elephant's leg. His hands touched the thick pillar of flesh. It was round, solid, strong. Darren's face lit up, confident. "Ah," he said loudly. "Now I understand." He turned his head toward the others. "An elephant is like a great tree," he announced. "A strong trunk." Beam, the loud one, was guided to the elephant's side. His hands pressed against the wide, warm body. It felt like a wall. Beam laughed. "A tree?" he shouted. "You fool." He slapped the elephant's side once, as if to prove his point. "An elephant is like a wall. A great, solid wall." Kavi, the sharp one, was guided to the elephant's tail. His fingers wrapped around the thin, rough tail hair. It felt like a rope. Kavi smiled, enjoying the chance to correct. "You are both wrong," he said sweetly. "It is clearly a rope. A rope that moves." Nalin, the timid one, was guided to the elephant's ear. His hands touched the large, soft ear. It moved gently like a fan. Nalin's mouth opened in surprise. It's like a fan," he whispered. "A wide fan." But he said it quietly, as if afraid someone would shout at him. Jaya, the stubborn one, was guided to the elephant's tusk. His fingers met the smooth, hard curve, cold and strong. Jaya nodded firmly. "It is like a spear," he declared. "A sharp spear." Suri, the calm, proud one, was guided to the elephant's trunk. His hands touched the long, moving trunk. It curled slightly, curious. It felt alive, muscular, twisting. Suri's eyes widened. He smiled. "Friends," he said calmly, "an elephant is like a snake. A thick snake." The elephant's trunk moved gently in his hands, almost as if greeting him. Suri took that as proof. "Yes," he said, pleased. "A snake." The wrong conclusions form. Now each man felt certain. Not maybe, certain. Because each had touched something real. And because they had touched something real, they believed they had touched the whole truth. Darren lifted his chin. "I told you," he said. "A tree." Beam laughed loud. "A wall," he shouted. "Only an idiot thinks it's a tree." Kavi's smile sharpened. "Please," he said. "You are like children. It is a rope." Jaya stepped forward, waving his hands. "No," he said, voice hard. "It is a spear." "It is obvious." Nalin swallowed, voice small. "I think it's like a fan," he whispered. Beam turned toward him. "A fan?" he roared. "Do you hear yourself?" Suri raised his hand, pretending to be calm. "Everyone," he said, "let's be reasonable. It is a snake." And that is the most logical answer. The king watched. He said nothing yet, because the lesson was building itself. The elephant stood in the center of it all, huge, silent, breathing. And around it, 6 small men held 6 small truths, like weapons. Story 19. The Blind Men and the Elephant. Part 2. The fight plus the wise king plus reflection. The conflict, when small truths become weapons. At first, it was only words, sharp words, words that cut deeper than sticks. Darren lifted his chin and pointed his finger in the air, as if pointing at truth itself. "It is a tree," he said, "a strong trunk. If you disagree, you are ignorant." Beam exploded with laughter. "A tree?" he shouted. "That's the dumbest thing I've heard." He stepped closer, his voice filling the courtyard like thunder. "I touched it with both hands," he yelled. "It's a wall." "A wall? It is wide and flat and solid." Kavi tilted his head, smiling like he was enjoying a show. "You two are loud," he said softly. "But loud does not mean right." He lifted his hands like he was holding an invisible rope. "It is a rope," he said. "You can feel it. Thin, rough, moving." Jaya made a harsh sound in his throat. "A rope cannot be an elephant," he snapped. "It is a spear, hard and sharp and smooth. If you had sense, you would know." Suri lifted his hand again, calm, proud, speaking slowly as if he was a teacher. "Friends," he said, "you are all too emotional." I touched the elephant's true part. It is like a snake, a living snake that moves. Nalin stood there, frozen. His hands still remembered the soft ear. He wanted to speak, but fear made his mouth dry. Still, he whispered, "It felt like a fan." Beam turned his head sharply toward. "A fan?" he roared. "You are weak. You are confused." Nalin flinched as if hit, and something inside him, small but stubborn, tightened. "No," he said, louder than before. "I touched it. It was wide and soft. It moved like a fan." Beam snorted. "Then you touched the wrong thing," he shouted. And that sentence, "wrong thing," lit a fire. Because no one wants to be told their experience is worthless. Daran stepped forward. "You are all fools," he said. "You don't understand what you touch." Beam shoved his shoulder forward. "Say it again," he growled. Daran did say it again, and Beam pushed him. Not hard at first, just a rough shove. Daran stumbled. His face changed. Now it was no longer a debate. Now it was pride. He reached out and pushed back. Kavi laughed softly. "Look," he said. "Two children fighting in the dark." Jaya stepped forward, angry. "Stop this," he snapped. "I'm the only one speaking clearly." Suri shook his head, disappointed, as if everyone else had failed his reason. "You are all trapped by your small minds," he said. That tone, calm and superior, made Beam furious. "Don't talk down to me," Beam shouted. He swung his arm and shoved Suri. Suri fell back into a servant's arms. Nalin tried to step away, but someone bumped into him. He lost balance and fell to the ground. His stick clattered. The courtyard filled with shouting. Insults flew like stones. "Idiot! Liar! Blind fool! Stupid mouth!" The elephant's ear twitched. Its trunk lifted slightly. It did not attack. It did not panic. It only breathed. As if it was watching humans do what humans do, turn partial truth into total war. Servants moved nervously, trying to keep the men apart. But the blind men could not see the elephant. They could not see each other clearly. They could not see how ridiculous they looked. They only felt their own certainty, their own pride, their own need to be right. The wise king intervenes. At last the king raised his hand. A deep drum sounded once. Boom. The noise stopped. Not because the men became wise, but because the king's power was greater than their shouting. The king stepped down from the balcony. His robe moved softly. His footsteps were calm. He walked into the courtyard, stopping between the arguing men and the silent elephant. The blind men, breathing hard, turned their faces toward the king's voice. The king spoke gently. "My friends," he said, "why do you fight?" Daran answered quickly. "Because they are wrong," he said. "And I am right." Beam shouted. "No," he yelled. "He is wrong." Each man tried to speak at once. The king lifted his hand again. Silence returned, like a curtain falling. Then the king said, "Each of you touched the elephant." They nodded, still angry. "And each of you touched a real part," the king continued. The blind men paused. "A real part?" The king walked slowly to the elephant. He placed his palm on its side, respectful. "This elephant is big," he said. "So big that one hand cannot know it fully." He walked to the leg. He tapped it lightly. "One of you touched the leg," he said. "It is strong like a tree." Daran's chest lifted. "See," he thought. Then the king walked to the side again. "One of you touched the body," he said. "It is wide like a wall." Beam's mouth opened in victory. Then the king walked to the tail. "One of you touched the tail," he said. "It is like a rope." Kavi's smile returned. Then the king moved to the ear. "One of you touched the ear," he said. "It is soft like a fan." Nalin's eyes filled with relief. Then the king moved to the tusk. "One of you touched the tusk," he said. "It is hard like a spear." Jaya nodded, satisfied. Finally, the king moved to the trunk. "One of you touched the trunk," he said. "It is alive like a snake." Suri lifted his chin, proud. The king stood still in the center now. He let the silence grow. The elephant stood behind him, breathing softly. The king's voice became very calm. "You are all right," he said, "and you are all wrong." The blind men froze. "How can that be?" Beam shouted. The king answered slowly, like pouring tea. "You are right," he said, "because you touched something real." He paused. "And you are wrong," he continued, "because you believed your part was the whole." The men fell quiet. The words settled into them. The king spoke again. "When we only touch one part of life," he said, "we see only one shape. And then we call it truth." He looked at each man, one by one. "And when someone touches a different part," he said, "we call them stupid. We call them wrong. We push. We shout. We fight." He lowered his voice gently. "But the truth is larger than our hands," he said. and larger than our minds. The elephant's trunk moved slowly, calm and patient. The king continued. "If you want wisdom," he said, "you must keep your heart open. You must listen. You must ask, what part did I touch? And also, what part did you touch?" He paused again, allowing the silence to teach. "Then," he said softly, "your small truth becomes a doorway, not a weapon." The blind men stood very still now. No shouting, only breathing. Some felt shame. Some felt confusion. Some felt a quiet opening inside. The king's final words were gentle, almost like a blessing. "Be humble," he said, "because none of us holds the whole elephant." Reflection. And now, dear listener, this story is not only about blind men, it is about all of us. Because we all touch life with our own hands. We touch with our childhood, with our culture, with our pain, with our hopes. We touch one part, and we say, "This is the whole truth." And when someone touches a different part, we argue. We judge. We label them. But maybe they are not evil. Maybe they are not stupid. Maybe they simply touched a different part. This does not mean every opinion is equal. This does not mean truth is bluffing. It means be careful with certainty. Be gentle with your own mind. Leave space for the unknown. Tonight, if you feel angry in an argument, if you feel the need to win, pause. Take one slow breath. Ask softly, what part of the elephant am I holding? And what part might the other person be touching? That question can cool the fire. That question can open the heart. Rest now. Let your mind be wide, like the night sky. And let your heart be humble, like a hand that knows it cannot hold everything. The end. The elephant remains. Large. Quiet. Whole. And the arguments fade. This story reminds us of something gentle and difficult. We all touch life from one place, from one angle, from one history. And what we touch is real, but it is not always the whole. As you drift towards sleep or return softly to your day, remember this. You do not need to shrink your truth, but you do not need to turn it into a weapon. Listen for the part you touched, and listen for the part others may be holding, because wisdom does not shout. Wisdom listened. Thank you for sharing this moment with Voice of Compassion. Breathe in humility. Breathe out the need to be right. Rest well